Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. With your permission, can I share my screen? I hope the screen is visible now. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having me and giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants from various backgrounds. So, without taking much time, I will begin with. But before I begin with the nuances of exploring various AI tools, I would first discuss the basic model of the research design, which is Maxwell's interactive model of research design. So, Maxwell's model is a framework that revolutionizes how we approach the research process. And if you talk about the traditional view, research design is often seen as a linear path with fixed steps from start to finish. However, Maxwell's model challenges this notion by recognizing that research is rather a dynamic, complex, and iterative process. Yeah, that's because somebody else's mic is also on. Because I've joined just using one. Ma'am, can you mute yourself? Is it still echoing? No, it's fine now, right? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, okay. I'll resume. Yeah. So Maxwell's model challenges this traditional notion by recognizing that research is a dynamic, complex, and an iterative process. And at the heart of Maxwell's model, there are three critical components: research questions, methods, and interpretations. So, what does Maxwell do? Maxwell, rather than treating these elements as separate entities, Maxwell emphasizes their interconnectedness and the need for continual dialogue and reflection throughout the research process. So imagine research as a vibrant conversation wherein we start with our research questions which guide our exploration and shape the methods we choose to employ. But there's a slight twist. Now, as we delve deeper into our study, new insights emerge, data unfolds, and perspectives shift. So, Maxwell's model acknowledges this fluidity and encourages us to adapt our research design accordingly. This model reminds us that research is not just a one-way street, but a dynamic process of discovery and growth, and that we must be open to, revisiting our questions, refining our methods, and re-evaluating our interpretations as we uncover new layers of understanding. So this model empowers us as researchers to navigate the complexities of our inquiries with a certain degree of, we can say, agility and insight. And it invites us to engage in a continuous cycle of inquiry, reflection, refinement, which ultimately leads to deeper insights and more robust findings. Now, if we talk about different steps of research process, so obviously I'm pretty sure that every one of us is quite aware about what are the different steps. We identify the problem, we evaluate the literature, we try to identify the research gaps in the literature. On the basis of those gaps, we create hypotheses, we create research objectives, we create research questions. And to accomplish those objectives and questions and establish our hypothesis, we frame a research design. We describe the population, describe the sample, the sampling technique, and what is going to be the method of data collection, the method and the techniques of data analysis, and interpreting our results, writing the implications in the report, and finally submit the report. That can be in the form of manuscript for a particular journal. It can be in the form of a working paper if it is done for an organization or for a research organization. Now, where does the AI or the ICT comes in. So at every step now, with the advent of AI, and AI is not something new, it's it has always been there. So at every step of the research, that the steps that we discussed in the previous slide, AI has got significant contributions to make, and it is there to stay. Now, we as academicians, as teachers, and as researchers, it becomes all the more responsibility to get ourselves acquainted with the AI tools that can help us, that can aid us. Again, I'm saying here the key word is that can help us, that can assist us, and that can aid us. It should not be used to replace our efforts, replace our rigor. Academic rigor and research rigor is something that makes our research, the entire research process, the application, the implications of research unique. So AI should not be used to replace our rigor. Undoubtedly, it is being done, and we can see there are a lot of retractions over the year. And 2023 for academic year 23-24 has been the year wherein a lot of research papers have been retracted from reputed journals, reputed publishers like Elsevier, like Wiley, and all the more other research outlets as well. So yeah, so because our students are using it, our scholars are using it, so we should also be acquainted with its use and see where, where we can bring in the usage, keeping the ethics in mind. So if we talk about literature review, if we talk about data collection, framing the questionnaire, evaluating the data, examining the interrelationships, interconnectedness between different variables, data analysis, data processing, helping us interpret the data, helping us find the research gap. Everywhere, at every step of the entire research process, AI tools are there for us. Now it is upon the onus is upon us to utilize these tools in our favor, keeping in mind the ethics part. Yeah. So if you talk about data collection, we obviously have online surveys. We have Monkey Survey, we have Google Forms, we have Google Sheets, and for analysis of in-depth interviews or focus group studies, there are tools for digital recording. Then there are also tools which would transcribe or convert audios into a typewritten Word document. For analysis, we have different software, like we have statistical package for social sciences, SPSS. Then we also have our software, which is an openware. Then we have Stata, we have eViews, and we also have qualitative analysis software like NVivo. There's Atlas.ti, there's MaxQDA, which helps in coding and analyzing the data which is of qualitative nature. For example, open-ended interviews can be analyzed on NVivo. Bibliometric analysis can be done on NVivo. Then we also have data visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI, then obviously Excel being the basic one. So these are something that we have already been using for past 3 decades. These are some tools. Some obviously MaxQDA and NVivo are not as old as SPSS and eViews and R, or maybe Tableau and Power BI. They have been recently brought into the paradigm. Now, coming to the next part, literature review. So besides the access to digital libraries and databases now, and there are reference management softwares like there's Zotero, there's Mendeley is there, and if you can see on the Word doc also, there's a option. Let me just share my entire screen first. Yeah. So if I randomly open say any Word doc, say from research papers. So let's say I open this. Okay, let's see. So you can see there's inbuilt reference tools. If you go to the references part, you can see that I'm simultaneously work with each other when we collaborate on a particular document. It can be a Google Doc, it can be a Google Sheet, it can even be a presentation. And then there are basic communication tools like, for example, the one that we are currently at, the platform. Google Meet is one, Zoom platform is there. Then there are online journals and repositories wherein our universities have taken the access for various journals which are otherwise paid. Then there are open access journals, and open access is being really promoted for research acumen and better research. Now, so I am going to discuss a few of these tools across all these steps, all these categories. And let's begin with ChatGPT being one of the most famous tool that is being used today for be it our students when it comes to writing an assignment, writing a paper, writing a term paper, or even preparing material for the presentation, for their presentations. As much as there are now cases of people, of students who are cheating in examination and they are using ChatGPT on their iWatch and on their iPhones. So yeah, that is I mean, that becomes all the more reason for us to get acquainted with the usage of ChatGPT. So I'm assuming that if you can confirm in the chat box that you have somewhere or the other, at other times, you have used ChatGPT for some purpose. You can just type yes or no, so that I know that I have to also walk you through logging into the ChatGPT. Yes. I've got 3 yes. Okay. So I'm assuming that most of us already know how to log into ChatGPT. Okay. So let's see the first part, that where we can take help. We can, ask ChatGPT to suggest a title. Title is something that we title with respect to a research paper, with respect to a manuscript. So title is something that we figure out towards the end. Once we have written the introduction, we have collected the data, we have analyzed the data, we have written the entire report, entire discussion section, and all the sections have been covered. Then we start writing the abstract, and after we finalizing the abstract, we go for finalizing the title. So let's see how ChatGPT helps. Continuing with the same example, this is an abstract of a paper which has already been accepted. So let's see, let's just copy the abstract and let's go to ChatGPT. I'll have to refresh. So let's copy paste the abstract on ChatGPT, and let us ask ChatGPT to help us finalize the title of this paper. And we can see a lot of, it has given us options also: FDI, ICT development, GDP growth, evidence from G20 economies. So see, it's considering the variables that we have taken for this paper, and it is also considering the economies, and in some suggestions it's also including the analysis, the technique, the research technique that we have taken. So if you can see the first one, it's talking about the variables, it's talking about the geography or the economies of the countries that we have considered for this paper, and it is also considering, we have employed panel data analysis in this one. So it's also, so ideally this is what an ideal title should be reflecting of, right? It should talk about the variables or the main research objective. It should also reflect the economies, the nations, or the countries that we've considered, or the sample that we've considered, using the required methodology. So just a reflective of a methodology. So it's obviously not considering principal component analysis that we've used in this paper for constructing this ICT development index. But yeah, it's giving a rough idea of what it should be. Yeah. So that's how we can seek help. So it is always about the prompt. Okay. Now, some of you might have this doubt: what if the same abstract is being copied by 5 different individuals at same time, or maybe at different times, right? So is it going to suggest the same solution? Yes, it is going to suggest the same answer. So what is the key here? The key is the prompt. Okay. And there's an emergent field that has emerged with the usage of generative AI, which is known as prompt engineering. So the way you interact with the generative AI, ChatGPT in this scenario, the way you interact, the kind of prompts that you give is known as prompt engineering. Now, how do we excel in that prompt engineering? By practicing, by acquainting ourselves, and by ensuring more usage of ChatGPT. Just whenever you're free, just try your hands on it. Okay. So the more specific uh, prompts that you give to ChatGPT, the more specific and more unique the answer it is going to give you. But should we rely blindly on the answers? No, we should not. I have had instances wherein I asked ChatGPT to solve a financial management question for me, and the answer it gave, irrespective of the fact whether the answer was correct or incorrect, I just, in the second prompt, I asked it to cross check, and I kind of portrayed or projected my prompt in a negative way. For instance, I asked ChatGPT, "Are you sure this answer is correct?" And despite the fact that it was correct, ChatGPT accepted its mistake wrongfully and gave me the wrong answer the second time. Okay, so we also need to understand its limitation and its advantages. Okay, and so we should be wary of the advantages when we will talk about literature. So I had this book that I'm editing, and I invited call for book chapters. It was related to AI, role of AI in finance in the VUCA world, which is volatile and uncertain world. Yeah. So there was this call for chapters. Now we got a lot of abstracts and papers also for the submission for review purpose. So what I could see, there was this particular paper. I will obviously not name the authors here, but the literature review. So there was something fishy with the literature review. There were certain studies which were cited, which were referenced in the LR of that particular chapter, or we can say manuscript, and those citations and references, they did not exist at all. So I went to that particular journal, the particular volume and the issue number, only to find that there was no study which was named that was cited in the literature review. So that's the problem. So we need to be very cautious with its usage. We also, as academicians, it is also our responsibility to ensure that we are ethical in its usage. Yeah, we must seek its help to assist us in various manners. But I do not want ChatGPT to write a paper for me. I want it to help me figure out the structure. I want it to help me suggest important readings which I would not otherwise. The same thing can also be done on Google also, right? For example, can you suggest some really important papers for say, let's say, monetary policy and sentiment analysis, let's say. Okay. So it will give me certain papers. But now I have to ensure whether they are actually related to the topic that I was suggesting or not. Okay. Rather than that, there can be another approach, and yeah, a lot of people do that. Write a para. Okay, let me stop this. Write a para of literature review on the topic relationship between financial awareness and financial inclusion. This is something which is unethical. This is something that we should be wary of, and we should be really cautious with its usage. See, it has written an LR wherein no citations are there. Now, what prompt I'm going to say? I'm going to say include certain studies. Let's see if it understands that I'm asking it to refer to certain citations. Yeah, it has. So this is unethical. Had this been the scenario wherein I had already written a paragraph or a literature section of literature review, and I asked Chat GPT to give to figure out what are the flaws in that write-up, to figure out if there are any grammatical errors, to figure out if there's the conceptual flow is missing from it, that is fine. But if I'm asking it to write, that is unethical. Yeah. So without taking much time, because we just have left. Okay, so similarly, ChatGPT can also be used to write an abstract from the introduction. You suggest, you provide prompt with respect to what all your paper is about, and it can help you write an abstract, and then you can improvise on it. But again, or maybe the more ethical approach, more judicious use would be to suggest a structure of an ideal abstract. You give it a reference to your particular research objective, and you seek its help in suggesting a structure, what all should be included in the research abstract. Similarly, you can ask it to identify research gap, but then again, there is no shortcut to not reading the literature, not reviewing the literature. That is something that should be there. These AI tools should be used to help you organize things in a better way. These should not be there to same thing goes is more about the prompt that you give it, the more expertise that you gain by its usage, by getting accustomed to it in giving the prompts to it. Okay. Yeah. Now let's move on to certain apps, certain tools which helps us understand the research paper. And I'm pretty sure that most of you would agree here with me that there are papers. Okay, I'm not reading the chat, but you can keep on posting your questions, or maybe we can take them towards the end of the session. Yeah. So yeah, there are certain papers which takes multiple rounds to understand, for us to understand what actually the paper is saying. So we have tools for that. Okay. We have, let's say, explainpaper.com, or Visio is also fine. So let's log in. I think there are certain number of days for which you can try this app. Yeah, my trial is expired. Let's try explainpaper.com. Okay. So what does this explainpaper.com do? It helps you understand a research paper. It helps you understand the literature. It helps you comprehend what a certain section of a paper is doing. Obviously, it will summarize the introduction. It will summarize the entire paper for you, but that's not what I am recommending. I'm recommending it for you for understanding certain technical parts of the paper. For example, let's upload. So you can see, you just have to log in. Mine is already logged in as Ashutosh. It's free. Of course, there are no subscription that's required. So simply click on upload PDF. You click on browse, or you can also use the drag and drop. Suppose I go for a smaller version. Yeah, let's go for this paper. I upload the paper, and it will just take a few seconds. Yeah. So this paper is around financial market development, monetary policy, and financial stability in Brazil. Okay. So there are certain papers. This is specific with FMD, monetary policy, and financial stability. So besides asking it to summarize the findings, so these are some custom-made questions that you can see here. Summarize the finding. Why is this paper important? What is your critique of this paper? What are similar papers? What is some prerequisites? So these are custom-made questions, but again, you need the upgrade version for getting answers to this. But there's a free feature which is explain, and that's why the name explainpaper.com. So say, for instance, there's a certain section of the paper that I do not understand. Okay, for example, let's read this together. So developments in the credit markets have had an impact on foreign exchange markets. The onshore deliverable FX market in Brazil comprises primary and secondary markets. The primary deliverable consists of over-the-counter trading in which participants foreign currency and so on. So there's nothing analytical, it's all the factual information. Let's delve more deeper. Okay. So Brazil has historically faced shortages of international reserves and problems with its balance of payments. As a result, the spot market has always been tight. Let's highlight this. We just have to drag and select. Okay. It will take a few seconds. Okay. Now you can see the customize option here. So it has bring in the highlighted portion in yellow here, and you can also customize your explanation here. You can ask it to explain you, considering that you're a 5-year-old or a middle schooler or a high schooler, an undergrad or a graduate or an expert. So for example, I'm doing as a PhD scholar. So I want the expert's opinion, expert's explanation of this part, which was one of the footnotes in the paper that I'm going through. I simply click on explain, and the text highlights Brazil's historical challenges with international reserves and so on. So Brazil has overcome balance of payment problems, resulting in a shift in the regulatory. Now I want to understand, how has Brazil overcome balance? Okay, that's fine. Whatever I was having doubt with, the app has explained that part in a bit detail, in a bit simpler format. But I also want to ask a follow-up question. How has Brazil overcome this issue in the past? So I can even ask questions, follow-up questions related to the text which is there in the paper, even if that part has not been covered in the paper. So it will explain through various measures such as implementing economic reforms, improving fiscal discipline, attracting foreign investments. Again, I can ask, what steps did Brazil economy take for attracting foreign investments or for diversifying its export base? Yeah, so we can do that also. Can you list down the steps that Brazil took to attract foreign investments? No? So that's a follow-up question. Let's see if it answers. Certain. Brazil has taken several steps to attract foreign investments, including implementing economic reform to improve the business environment, reduce bureaucratic hurdles, offering tax incentives, strengthening investor protection laws, and so on. So this is a wonderful AI tool which helps us comprehend, understand the paper, so that I do not have to go back to Google back and forth, for figuring out what the paper is talking about. Because these are the papers which are of a bit technical and advanced level. So I need an understanding, but I want to be at just one single platform, be making notes about it. And, I don't have to Google search or maybe go deeper into figuring out what all documents would be required. Then so this is the perfect app for that. Perfect AI tool for understanding, for reading the literature. Yeah. So let's move on to the other one. Summarizing paper. So before covering this AI tool, let me show you another thing that I did for my PhD. I hope my screen and my folders and everything is visible. Can somebody please confirm? Okay. So let's go to one of the objectives that I initially did back in 2021. And I will show you for another. Yeah. So my supervisor and me, we had this agreement on an approach to literature review, wherein we decided that every paper, every study that I'm going to read or go through or cite in my objectives, my PhD, I am going to maintain an Excel which will have the following columns: study, the name of the study, the empirical models or the methods that were used, what were the dependent variable in the study, what were the independent variables in the study, conclusion, as in my understanding of the paper, what was the paper title. So these were additional columns that could be maintained. So this is what I did for all the objectives that I had. My broader area was monetary policy and financial markets. So this is what I did. And trust me, undoubtedly this approach is really good because it helps you organize your literature so that you don't have to, times and again open the PDF. So you know what this paper was talking about. Obviously, when you write the interpretation or the implication sections, obviously you will have to go back to these PDFs. But as an overview, I have every study listed here for my ease. okay, for my usage. So all the studies were listed there. For each objective, I had this, and it took me several days, even months, for few objectives to compile all the studies this way. Yeah, but now we have AI, and we have this wonderful tool which is SciSpace or Typesetto. These are the same only. There are others also, but I will not be covering. I have just listed them down, but I'll be showing you this one. Let's go to SciSpace. Yeah, let's click on the SciSpace. And okay, there are other options also, but I'm going to go for the literature review. There's an option. Where is it? Citation Copilot, citation generation. Okay, let's cover this one first. Okay, so I put in a topic. For example, I put in a topic: financial markets and monetary policy. Now, what this tool is going to do? So there are two ways that you can operate here. Either you can give it a title, and it will search down the research papers for you. And there's an option, orange column here. So you can add the number of columns that you want. You want to add insights, you want to add conclusions, remove summarizing abstract, results, literature review. So all there are customized options, and it will show. Now again, obviously you can select filters. The free version has this. You can also upload PDFs here. So if you want this to be done for specific papers that you have reviewed, you can click on this option. And if you want the SciSpace to do it for you to select, so you can put in more filters: top tier papers, open access, the one, and there are more filters option also. So you can specifically last 5 years you can choose. Okay. Yeah. So it will show you the papers which have been recently published, and you can also see the quality of the papers, quality of the journals that it is taking. And it will add all those columns that I had in my Excel sheet, the sample that I was showing you. There's conclusion, there's method used, what are the limitations, what are the practical implication, what were the results, what were the summarized abstract, summarized introductions, conclusion of the paper, important literature review that was surveyed. So you can, and wonderful thing about this tool is that you can export all this in an Excel sheet. Okay. But you will need a premium plan to export. Since I have used it multiple times, so it's not allowing me to do that, but you can always have a trial version. Yeah. So for exporting, you will need the paid version, the subscription for this. Okay. After a certain number of attempts. So it's a wonderful tool. It helps you organize your literature in a better way. Again, we can use the upload PDF option also here. Yeah. So this is what helps in summarizing the literature. The previous tool, the Visio and the explainpaper.com, they helps us in understanding the literature, understanding a particular research paper, a particular part. Yeah. So yeah, this is so okay. So again, these are image and text generation. Not exactly for your research, but yeah, for your research presentation. I really love this tool, which is Ideogram, and it has a wonderful tool, and you can also play around it a lot. For example, you want to include certain pictorial representation in presentation, but you're finding it really difficult to find a representative picture of Google for that. You will find something. Find which is custom made, customized as per your requirement. Okay. I can ask Ideogram to generate anything for me. For example, I want to generate, say, uh, anything. Purple flower trees with chocolate as fruit. Just any random imagination. You can type in, make it, and you can see the research findings for my teaching presentations. Let's see what it's generating. Yeah. I don't know if it's correct because I do not have a science background per se.
Sir, no, it's not correct, sir.
It's not correct. Maybe you can specify better what bacterial cell wall are we talking about?
Okay, gram-positive bacterial cell wall.
Gram-positive.
Yeah, GRAMPOSITIV.
Let's see. Has it improved now?
Sir, no. Actually, still no, it's not there. Can you just type it as structure of gram-positive bacterial cell wall?
Structure of
gram-positive bacterial cell wall.
Let's see. So see, it is going to take the keywords that it understands. It's a LLM model, and it keeps on learning from the inputs that you provide. I suppose this is also not correct.
Maybe we may try diagrammatic representation of gram-positive bacterial cell wall.
Okay, let's do that.
It's giving the microscopic views.
Yes, diagrammatic representation. Let's hope it does well now. I'm also checking it on Google simultaneously. Gram-positive cell wall. Yeah. Need to press enter. Diagrammatic structure, you said.
The word structure to be included there.
Yeah, let's see. So meanwhile it generates the image. Let's move on. So yeah, with respect to writing assistants, you can try these. Jenny.ai is there. There is Site.ai, Paperfall, which can help you write. But again, I suggest this with a word of caution that there are tools which can also detect AI generated text. For example, Drillbit, the plagiarism checking software that University of Delhi is using these days. Though there are no UGC guidelines for the allowance of the usage of AI or seeking help for AI, but yeah, a lot of well-reputed publishers are eyeing the papers, just rejecting the manuscripts which are using AI assistance in writing. Yeah, for example, there's a specific AI policy for Emerald research papers, for Science Direct research, illustrated research papers. So, but yeah, you can use, there are certain tools which help you write down, and you can improvise, you can take its help in reducing plagiarism or maybe paraphrasing. That is okay. So the thing with chat GPT or chat with data, you can even put in your data, you can ask chat GPT to help you analyze the given data, you can copy paste data, but again, or you can help chat GPT, you can take its help in figuring out the code for R or maybe for Python. For example, I want to run time series analysis on R, okay, and I do not know what are the various packages which would be required to be downloaded on R before I can go for the time series analysis. So I asked ChatGPT about it. Okay. So there are other alternatives also. There's PowerDrill.ai, Quiver is there, Julius is there. Okay, which helps you with data analysis and data interpretation. For citations, though, Mendeley, Zetro, and inbuilt word options are there, but those options are more suitable when you use those for from the very beginning itself. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So, but I suggest Scribber, which is really easy to use. And let's see. Scribber. So there are other options for other tools in Scribber, but I use Scribber for citation generation only, and there's no, I mean, no unethical practice about this. Okay, you can see a lot of research papers that are published. I have the list here. Okay, for example, let's open a report. So you can see the key point is, I'll just take an example from the it will include the reference in the desired format. For example, for now, I have select APA 6, but how do we create a list? You see the plus sign on the left-hand side of the screen. You create on it, you create list. For example, GTU session. The font size, which we have DOI numbers, we can cite automatically. Okay, it will include, or there's also an option to cite manually. And there are various options. It can be a book, it can be a web page, it can be a blog post, it can be a YouTube video, journal article. I select, and it has inbuilt uh, fields that we have to fill in manually. Obviously, the podcast episode here, we'll have to write its name, we'll have to write the contributors. If there's a season involved, if there's an episode, what is the publication date, we fill in and we click on site source. Okay. Obviously, haven't put in any details, so it will not. And again, you can export it to Word. It's going to take some time and it will be downloaded as a Word document. And we can see the Word document is here. And then you can copy paste it from here. Another wonderful feature here is, suppose I had this manuscript and I submitted it to a particular journal which demanded that it should, the referencing should be in say APS 7th edition, and later on the paper got rejected from that journal. Okay, and later on, so you know, there can be as long as hundreds of citation and references in a particular manuscript. Now the problem arises when we do it manually, and when the paper gets rejected from one journal which has a different format, expectations with the terms of references, and we want to send it to the other journal wherein the referencing formatting is different, say it's Chicago, it's MLA, then it becomes a problem if we have done it manually. So with Scribble, the important feature here is that you can click on this, the three dots you see, more actions, you click on settings, and you can later on also change it. So as for example, I want MLA 9th edition. I click on it and it will automatically change all the citations in that format. Okay, for example, there was this book chapter on COT, which again has been accepted. I think that it will ask, yeah, you can get started for free. You can get a trial version, but then you will have to subscribe to its application. Yeah. So yeah, cover letter for paper submission, replying to mails, giving a personal touch. So this is what I recommend. I do not want ChatGPT to write papers for me, to do research work for me, but rather I want it to help me do, non-academic work. For example, I have to shoot a mail to the alumni of Hansraj College for seeking feedback. We are also entrusted with a lot of administrative work. It's not just the teaching these days. There's a lot of administrative work that's also given to us. For example, I am also the core team member of Criterion 1 of IQAC team of our college from past 7 years. And as a required practice, we need to collect feedback from different stakeholders. Okay, these are students, these are parents, these are our alumni also. So obviously there's a uniform format for feedback, which we create on Google Doc, but then I want a certain write-up also to be circulated along with the feedback link. So what I can ask it to write a message or write-up to be shared along with the feedback form from the college to its alumni. Now, I do not want to waste my energy in, framing the write-up, which is a standard thing. Yeah. So yeah, that is what it does for me. Again, it's more about the prompt. I want to, I can even ask it to shorten it. I can also ask it to make it more formal. I can also ask ChatGPT to make it, more informal, give it more personal touch. I can also ask ChatGPT to include more flowery language, more artistry language in this. So whatever works. So I find it very long, so I can maybe ask it, can you please shorten it? Let's see. So see, it's also highlighting why alumni is important, why feedback collection is important. We hope this message finds you well. As valued members of our college community, your achievements make us proud and your insights are crucial to our growth. Enclosed is a feedback form designed to gather your thoughts. So these are the kind of work that we, that we should be using ChatGPT and other generative AI tools for, our help, rather than focusing more on replacing our academic rigor, our academic acumen, research acumen with respect to writing part. We should more focus should be there on seeking its help. Yeah. So yeah, there are these are bonus tools that you can use for various purposes. For example, if you want to compare results between different AI models, then there's sdk.versal.ai. If you want to, there's Audemic, listening.io, which provides audio summary of papers. So this is really helpful for researchers who are visually impaired. Yeah, so it provides summary of papers to you. Then there's researcherapp.com, which will send you updates with respect to the particular research papers on a topic. Then there's untools.co, which is for problem solving, flourish.studio for data visualization. So ChatGPT is not, it's not excelling. It is a freer version, is not excelling in all the fields, but there are specific AI tools for everything. Yeah, Formula Bot for Excel is there, which will help you, figure out the different formula, write formula, frame nested functions in Excel. So yeah, all these are. Charlie.ai is there, turn 3 words into 10,000. There's Studio Design, which helps you in designing your own website. You can explore these tools. The more you explore, the more you get acquainted, the more helpful it becomes for you. So you can get started for free, and it helps you design your own website. Wix is also there if you want to go for that. The last tool that I want to cover, so AI text detection, again, it's in Zero GPT also. CopyLeaks is also there, but then again, recognized software like Drillbit also has AI text detection, though it does not highlight it per se, because UGC is still silent upon the usage of AI and what are the permissible limits. For example, plagiarism, with respect to plagiarism limitations, it has specified that it should be less than 15% for thesis and dissertations and book chapters, and it should be 10% for research papers. But it is still silent about AI text, AI generated text usage. But yeah, there are tools which are there. Quillbot can help you with the paraphrasing and changing the language for zero AI, because there are various. For example, I have this 20 pages long document wherein monetary policy word is being used consistently, multiple number of times, but then it still shows as plagiarism. So Quillbot can help you paraphrase certain parts of the. I can just open Quillbot to show you how the interface works. So there are two parts in which this is divided. You can see, you can paste the plain text. Okay, you can upload a document also, but I think there's number of word limits. You can simply paste any text from here. For example, I want to say this is a PDF. I want to copy down this, and you paste it here. You click on the green tab, which is paraphrase, and the paraphrase version will be shown here. You can also use different synonyms for these words, which are highlighted, which are hyperlinked. So if you want to change locally into regionally, it will give all the suggestions here. So this is a perfect paraphrasing tool, Quillbot. Another last tool that I wanted to consider for creating presentations. I don't know if I've not included it here. But let me show that to you. It's Gamma. So what Gamma? So Gamma helps you create wonderful presentations. There are inbuilt templates with it. So what you can do is you can, suppose I want to create a, import from paste in text. Let's go. Okay, I want to say prepare.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb you. Sir, actually, our chief guest for valedictory session has already joined with us.
Okay, ma'am.
So I would request you to please wind up this.
Yeah, just another minute and I'll be done with it.
Okay, sir.
So you can just type in. Okay, so there are two options here wherein you can type the topic, or you can also import files. Say it can be a Word doc, it can be a PDF, and say financial. I'll just put in a. Okay, I want to create a presentation. I will just click and it will include all the material. It will also show me the number of cards, number of slides which can be there. I click on continue. It will create a presentation for me. I can click on generate. The only point is that you cannot download it. You will have to present it in an online mode only, and there will be credits given to Gamma website for that. So you can see it is including all the information, all the diagrams on its own. It's creating smart art and everything. Yeah. So again, with a subscription, with a paid subscription, you can increase the number of slides you want to have. You can also give in the content as an input document for this, so that the same document, same content that you want would be presented in terms of presentation, PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, with this, I will stop here. I will stop sharing my screen, and maybe you can put in your questions. Yeah, Jyoti Pundi, yeah, it is free version, but with free version, you can only generate, I think, 10 number of slides. Scribber, yes, Dr. Deepthi, Scribber is quite good, and it can be used for paraphrasing too, and it is free of cost also. Minakshi Mathur ma'am is asking about rules and regulation regarding plagiarism when we use AI for research papers. So see, with AI, if you just try this, you ask to AI tools to write a paragraph for you, and then you run it through plagiarism. I've tried it myself, but I did not find any plagiarism issue. But yeah, still it is unethical. But is it allowed? Yes, for the moment it is allowed. But should we do it? No, we should not. Right. So yes, Shweta ma'am, I think you can take it from here if there are no more questions.
Sir, good afternoon. I have a little submission, and thank you for that informative session.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm Karamjeet Singh from Delhi. Sir, I have two questions. One is related to Gamma app that you just presented here. Sir, is it a generative AI? Means it will generate content on its own, or yes, it will be just converting into slides?
Yes, sir. So there are both options. It is generative AI also is inbuilt. So you give it just the title of the slide that you want to make it, and
Okay.
it will gather all the information from the internet, from the Google, and from all the sources. So that's one option. Another option is that you upload a Word document of which you want to make a presentation. So it will
Okay.
do that also for you.
Okay, so descriptive paragraph to be given and it will convert it into slides, into bullet points,
Yes,
right?
both the options are there.
Both the options are there. Thank you. Now my second question, sir.
In fact,
Recently,
sir, before you go for the second question, in fact, you can also change or edit the slides that it creates. It is
okay,
not that
but
it is going
on
to
the online mode only, because I
Yeah,
cannot download it on the online mode only.
Yes, yes,
Right,
yes.
sir. That makes sense. Sir, my next thing is recently I presented a paper for proposal I submitted for an international organization, and there they asked explicitly, have you used any AI, Chat GPT, Gemini, or Copilot? If yes, then mention how have you used it. So my concern was, although I said yes, I have used it to concise my matter or to cite some references. So is it a good idea to mention it or not, according
sir,
to your experience? Yeah.
So good also differs from person to person. So the right question here should be: is it ethical or is it unethical not to disclose this information? Yes, it is, and it is perfectly fine, because when we are saying that we are researchers, we are writing proposal, we are working on a manuscript or a research paper or a research project.
Right.
We are talking with terms of the concept, the topic, the research problem.
Right.
Not every researcher is PhDing in language, right?
True.
So I might not be good at writing skills, but I might be good at research, experimentation, impact evaluation. So yes, I can take its help, but I should always disclose to what extent I have used it.
Right.
Again, UNESCO's guidelines are there, but they are for AI research.
Okay.
But there are material available, and a lot of journals, a lot of publishers are coming out with the use of AI, ethical use of AI. So, yeah.
Right.
So there are no guidelines per se as of now, but yeah.
Great.
Maybe that's another session that I can take. I have the material. Maybe some other time. Yeah.
Right. Great, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
So I will take your leave now. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Sir.
Yes,
Sir, I just have one query. See, whatever message you gave us today, like it is all like the review. Like already the manuscript is prepared by somebody. Like if you want to get the information by cross-linking two different manuscripts or whatever it is, you have used all those. It is going to be your own manuscript. That is